Hello everyone, Mason here. How you doing? It's time for some fun today. I'm coming at you with the nerdy narrative book tag, originally created by Codex Cantina in honour of Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative. I love these tag videos. I feel like they're a lot of fun and they're a great way to get to know the people that are making them. Nobody tagged me, but I'm doing it anyway, because I'm a rebel with an independent spirit, and damn it, I do what I want. So let's get to it. Prompt number 1, science fiction. What is a futuristic or imaginative element that you are glad doesn't exist in the real world? Here's something that you don't know about me yet. I'm a bit of a technophobe, so this is a pretty easy answer for me. I am absolutely terrified that one day we'll reach the singularity, artificial intelligence will reach sentience, and it'll decide that we're the scourge of the earth and find a way to wipe us out. This answer is pretty easy for me. The Terminator, The Matrix, or pretty much anything from Black Mirror, because that show terrifies me. It gives me the worst case of tech anxiety. I don't know why, but I am just terrified of technology. I feel like it's smarter than I am, and it scares me. Number 2, horror. What is the scariest moment you've experienced whilst reading? I got thinking about this one because I watched Philip Chase's version of this tag where he mentions 1984. I've got to agree with him. That book definitely contains one of the scariest moments I've ever read, but our moments don't match up. You are the dead. Anyone who's read 1984 will probably know which moment I'm talking about. Anyone who hasn't should just go read 1984. It's great. It's not a good time, it really isn't, but it is fantastic. I knew the moment was coming. It felt inevitable, but my stomach dropped through the floor. It crawled inside of me and I couldn't stop thinking about it for weeks. It's not an overtly horrific, gruesome scene, but psychologically it was awful. I waited till last year to read 1984 and I'm really glad that I did. Personally, I feel like if I'd have read it as a teenager, I wouldn't have been mature enough to really understand and take in what was going on. But since I waited so long, I really do feel like it's one of the most unsettling stories that I've ever read and has multiple moments that are just grim on various levels. Number 3. Fantasy. What would you import from a fantasy world into our own? 100% the Shire along with hobbits. The Shire has always seemed like a beautiful, relaxing place that I've always wanted to visit, and I love hobbits. I feel a kindred spirit with them. They're simple and easily pleased, they're happy to stay at home, they love music and storytelling and food. I just want to visit the Green Dragon, sit, have a drink, listen to as many stories as the hobbits want to tell me, join in with a sing-song, enjoy some fantastic food, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of old Toby. Number 4. Comics and manga. What is a comic that you've enjoyed reading or always wanted to check out? I've never really read any graphic novels, not because I wouldn't want to, but my eyesight was never good enough to take in and appreciate the illustrations, and obviously these days it's not possible at all. But I've always wished that I could read V for Vendetta. I've had multiple friends throughout the years that spoke extremely highly of it, and I thought that the movie was amazing when I checked it out for the first time last year. If science ever progresses to the point where I get my eyesight back, it'll definitely be something that I pick up. I actually thought that the Netflix Marvel shows were great, especially Daredevil and The Punisher. The audio description on those shows was fantastic, and it actually did a really good job of describing visual elements such as the lighting. Number 5. Literary fiction and classics. What is a classic you've been meaning to get into but haven't gotten around to yet? This is a pretty easy answer for me. There are 3 that spring to mind immediately. Sherlock Holmes, The War of the Worlds, and Dracula. All three are iconic and beloved examples of their genre, and I haven't gotten around to any of them yet, which is something that I'm hoping to remedy by the end of this year. The War of the Worlds in particular is one that I'm hoping to get to quite soon, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be on my TBR for May, so if you're interested in hearing me talk about it, keep an eye out for that. Number 6. The Busy Bee. What book or series would you like to share with your friends? I'd like to see more people talk about The Passage, which is a trilogy by Justin Cronin. I thought the first book in the trilogy, The Passage, was absolutely fantastic the first time I read it. If you like post-apocalyptic fiction, maybe a little bit of sci-fi, I think you'll love it. So far I've only read that first book, but I am determined to get through the rest of the series at some point. The only reason I've only read that first one is because I read it when I could still see, and when I tried the audiobook I wasn't much for the narrator, but like I said, I am determined to get through it at some point. I'd also like to get my dad into Sanderson. I know that he knows who Brandon Sanderson is because he loves The Wheel of Time, but from what I've heard about the Stormlight Archives, it sounds like that series would be right up his alley, and I might buy him The Way of Kings for his birthday. I don't think he watches these, so that won't spoil his birthday gift. Number 7. The Influencer. If you could have influenced an author to make a different decision in a book, what would it have been? This is an easy answer, but it's also not a hot take in the slightest. I don't particularly know what the etiquette is when it comes to spoilers with Harry Potter, but I'll keep it vague so that I don't spoil the 5 people in the whole world that haven't read this series and also happened to click on this video, which is astronomical odds. In the Deathly Hallows, something massive happens that would have had an enormous emotional impact, but it pretty quickly gets undone, and I think that was a terrible idea. I'm sure that's going to make a few people mad, but I'm sorry, I've always felt that way. Number 8. The Birthday Wish. What book would you like for your birthday? Truth is, I don't know. My birthday isn't for a long time, not until November, and I'm sure that I'll have read a lot by then, and I will have found lots of books that I want to read too. I'm utterly jealous of all the people that will get their hands on the new edition of Lord of the Rings with Tolkien's illustrations in though. Utterly jealous. Utterly. Number 9. The Invite. Who are you inviting to your Booktube party? Tag some friends to share some cake with. No, because I'm far too greedy to share cake with anybody. Seriously though, since nobody tagged me, and I just did this for a bit of fun, I'm not going to tag anybody else. I'm far too late to this tag, and far too new to Booktube. But if you want to say that I tagged you, feel free. Just let me know in the comments so I can check out your version. Right guys, I hope you've had a good time with this, because I have. If you want to have a chat, say hi in the comment section, and then you should make friends with the like button, because it's well lonely. As always, thanks so much for spending time with me today. Until next time, take care. For now I'm off, and you should have a good one.